So for my 50th video, I'm going to do a little lesson how I make track look like this. Train track. How to rusty it. And you can see I did it differently. So it looks like some parts are older or newer than others. So it's going to be a short tutorial over rusty weathering. So for the first step, I do a base coat of iron. Which I use this Revell 91 iron. This stuff you really don't have to shake that much. And I do a really don't have to mix it or anything for this. Stuff dries pretty fast. This is enamel paint. I always use enamels. I've never gotten to using acrylics. I started with enamels and I'll probably use it until I can't build anymore, which may be sooner rather than later. It's hard to build models when you have arthritis. Now I just do the sides with this. The top of the track, or the bottom of the track I don't paint, and the sides and the top part and here I use aluminum because it's shinier. It gives that polished look. So the first step is finished and has to dry. So on the second step we're going to put a coat of Matte 82 from Revell. It's like a red brown. Now I have 3 different bottles of mixer here. I use this one to clean the brushes at first, this one to clean up, do a better cleaning of it, and this is for mixing, a clean bottle to mix paint. We don't need a lot. And thin it down some. Maybe a little bit more. And thin it down a lot. You always have to keep mixing this too because it separates really fast, and that may be because it's Revell paint with, well, I don't know. This paint is not really. This is for mixing. I use it for cleaning because it seems to work better as what they have. I use the what they call Paint Clean on a Revell brush, one of these, and it totally stripped the paint here, loosened the glue in here and here. The brush fell apart after twice, which I don't really understand. So I use color mix because it cleans better. And this is just like a. It makes it look dingy, dirty. And on top of this dirty look is going to go the rust. So we'll wait for that to dry before we move forward. So all that first coat it did was really it toned down the silver. I can use another coat first. So we're gonna put a little bit more in here. A little thinner. This is going to be a little bit thicker than the first one. Be a little too thick. Easy to fix. Thin it a little bit more. Go back over it. And let it dry. So now that we're finished with the washes for now, at the end will come another wash, because we want to put some, I won't say bright colors, but they're heavy colors, like, you know, strong colors. We have Brick Red, number 37 from Revell, and brown, even though it looks more ochre to me. It's number 85 from Revell. That's the colors I use for rust. And we start with the Brick Red. And we just want to do, we're going to do some feather brushing here. A little bit. I always use an old piece of paper. You don't have to waste any paper towels or something. And I don't mix it up all that well because I want it to be thin. And the track that I started on, I haven't done the final wash on it yet because I haven't completely finished it yet. I still have to do 3 sections. I wanted to do the final wash to tone it down after all 3 sections are done. So it still looks really red and orange in some places. You have to kind of work it in underneath here. Into the edges. This side as well. That's why I like these Testors brushes. They're shaped really good for something like this, but they're not good for detailing. And that's why I bought the other brushes from. They were a little bit more expensive, so I could do detailing better. And it's going to get a pretty heavy coat of this. Not really paint it though. So get a really, really, really heavy feathering, I guess. Now I'm putting it over these holes. These holes are to put the, I don't have an idea what they're called, but they're the pieces that hold the track, the different sections of the track together. And they are. I didn't have a problem in any other track, because you have to slide it. You have to slide it into these slots, so it holds together really good. Anyways, that's one side. Let's do the other side. I always use enamel paints. I know a lot of people have switched to acrylics, but I don't know. I like enamels. I use acrylics. I painted a pickup truck, a Chevy S10, acrylic blue when I was a kid, a teenager probably, and the paint just it was scratching off. And I'm sure these new acrylics are probably a lot better than the acrylics we had 20 How long ago was that? 25 years ago? I'm sure that they're a lot better now than they were, but I don't know. I like acrylics. I'm used to using acrylics. I don't really see the need to switch. Check here on the top, or in the corner, to make sure I got it good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect really, because rust is never even anyways. It's going to be a little bit lighter underneath the lip. Yeah. And then we'll let that dry and go on to the next step. So the last step here is to use this Revell 85 brown, which looks a bit like an ochre to me, even if it's a bit of a brighter color. It's too orange in my opinion. We're gonna use it to add some rust spots here. Use a dry brush. A little bit too much on there. Q-tips work good too for that. Painting is like something common to me. Unfortunately, I can't do it small detail painting when my hands are shaking. Right now it's okay though. So the result of this step, let's see if we can get a good shot of it. I mean, it looks pretty bright and really rusted. But we'll tone it down once it dries. See? And for the next step, we're going to do another wash over the rust. For this one, the way I plan to do my train part here, it's going to be in the mountains in Italy. And I did a little, looking online to see what soil looks like there, and it's like a reddish brown. And then I have this Italian sand. And it should be a little darker, I think, but we're going to start with this, put some brown in it, and make a wash out of it. And that's going to be the wash. Some dust. So some Italian brown, Italian sand. A little bit of this. Yeah, that still looks pretty good. A little thinner. And we want a really thin. A really thin coat just to dull it down. That should work. It'd be a little too thin. Trial and error sometimes with this thinning this paint. Yeah, that's better. And we're going to take my cloth and dab it a little bit. Okay. Gonna let that dry. Shouldn't take too long to dry. So now our rusted piece of track looks like this. And there's one last thing we have to do. We paint the top rail. For the rails I use this aluminum, because even though they're not aluminum, they're shiny from the trains drive over them, and they get so polished almost to say. Hands aren't so steady anymore. I'm not actually going to be using this on my model, so I didn't worry about smoothing out the plastic here on top. There's a mold line along it. If I was using my model, I would have sanded it down to make it smooth first. But this was an extra piece and I wanted to show what I do. Now the finished piece. Well, I thank y'all for watching. In the future, I'll be doing more videos like this, as well as build videos, once we get moved into the new house and I get all set up. Thanks for watching and have a good day.